A British cruise ship rejected by Caribbean port officials for weeks docked in Cuba on Wednesday to unload more than 1,000 people on board, including 5 confirmed COVID-19 patients. Cuba said it is allowing the passengers to transit as an act of humanitarian solidarity. I'm sat on the ship just now. I'm well, but my wife has a cough, so we are confined to our cabin. Quite rightly. I understand why several smaller islands turned us away. In the Bahamas we were resupplied by a boat that was left at anchor by the crew who left it on another boat. Our ship's crew had to board and bring it alongside for unloading. I have great respect for the ship's captain who has tried so hard to both find us a port and keep spirits up. I know the FCO have been working hard in our behalf. I can't express how grateful I am to Cuba. This is great by Cuba, but I will defend those islands who refused them a little. A lot of those places have substantial populations of very poor people who live in tight, poor conditions, and they rely entirely on imports for almost everything, especially medical supplies. An outbreak on an island like that, with every country trying to source the same supplies and nowhere for any of their people to go, would be an extreme disaster. And one that no other country can really help with at the moment since we're all dealing with it. Cuba also has this issue of lots of poor people, but for all the, in many cases deserved, shit they get, they are known to have great health care, so hopefully they are equipped to handle this. Props to them in any case. Can anyone explain to me why they were unable to try any of the British Virgin Islands? If it's a British territory, it shouldn't have been a problem for a British cruise ship. Currently in Cuba, the official response to the virus has been pretty solid. They sent out medical teams to every place where tourists can stay, telling them to report any medical issues immediately. Lots of broadcasts and education, disinfectants and mandatory hand washing at every restaurant and public place since about a week. Nonetheless, the fact that people live very closely and have lots of physical contact is worrying. See Italy. Let's hope they manage to escape this potential disaster as much as possible. We should ban cruise ships, they are nasty AF. So Trump gets his panties in a bunch when a cruise ship full of Americans want to dock in the United States to transfer those people to a hospital, but Cuba, a small island with 10 confirmed cases, is willing to take foreign nationals already diagnosed with the disease plus many more in quarantine for humanitarian reasons. This is not the first time Cuba has acted on compassion rather than merely expedience. Careful guys, only in dumbfuck America can anything positive said about Cuba be met with absolute hatred and vitriol by the political establishment and the dumb and blind sheep who obey them. Unpopular thought. Why the F are people still going on cruises? Most cruises are 10 days, so these passengers can't say they didn't know there is an active global pandemic situation going on right now. I'm digging down deep to feel bad for them, but finding it very hard. Everyone's life is being disrupted right now and we're all stumbling through, hoping this resolves quickly so we can get back to our normal routines. Please stop going on cruises until this virus situation is over. Thanks. Cuba thumbs up medium skin tone. It's a good thing we've been talking so much shit about Cuba in this election cycle. Why the fuck are people still riding cruise ships? Oh, you mean the country that all the ghouls are comparing our current grocery store situation to is helping out the civilized world? Remind me again how people were offended by Bernie Sanders complimenting Cuba for their literacy program. Lift all sanctions on Cuba right the fuck now. Man. This is truly humans being brothers. Amazing stuff. The world needs more of this kind of solidarity. No one better say anything positive about this. Our Biden's team is going to jump down your throat for supporting bad peoples. Cuba have a long-standing record of helping in humanitarian crises. Their work on Ebola was underreported and it honestly saved untold numbers of lives. Cubans are good people. Cubans are so nice. I've loved every time I've been there. They really band together and help one another, due to the communism. And they have a great health system. Way to do the right thing, Cuba. Good on them. They just earned the rights to my next vacation spot once we get through this. Damn, it's like Cuba is a good nation and America is a fucking playpen of idiocy. Maybe we can finally stop with the fucking crazy anti-Cuban jingoism. For medical treatment they really couldn't have found a better country. They're very fortunate. Cuba is unironically extremely good. I love how there are now multiple examples of communism handling this crisis with efficiency and compassion, yet everyone in the US is worried about the fucking economy. I'd say fuck the US, but it's already fucked. Wait. A socialistic country is functioning well enough to help out rich folks of their nightmare cruise. Who would have thought this possible, and why is Cuba not in chaos like Venezuela? /S. Well, if they stay on the ship there will be 1,000 people who get the virus. If they haven't already. Cruise ships needed to be unloaded as soon as a case is even probable. They're basically floating petri dishes. I'm going to have a fine Cuban cigar in their name today then. I feel for those first cruises when the outbreak came, but at this point if you take a cruise you got what's coming to you. Cuba gets a bad rap, man. They have been economically isolated but prioritized their citizens so that they have great health care and education. Those damn commies and their humanitarian worldview. What's next? Giving people free medical care. Stop. Going. On. Fucking. Cruises. How fucking stupid are you to go on a cruise even 3 weeks ago? Damn socialism and its /checks notes / compassion for human life and commitment to reduce harm in society. Deleted. Damned commies. /s. Nice job, Cuba. Thumbs up medium skin tone. Maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but if you willingly went on a cruise ship after like the middle of February, I can't help but question your logic and empathy. Especially if you don't self-quarantine after coming home. We should put more sanctions on Cuba. How dare they continue their evil actions? What's next? Developing a coronavirus vaccine? I'll be damned if I let the communists cure this global pandemic. Stop taking cruises, people, FFS. I understand the humanitarian effort, but in serving a cruise ship of 1,000, Cuba has effectively put their whole country at risk. It would have been better to let the cruise dock there, and provide supplies while those on board quarantined. Those damn communists and their humanity. Why are people going on cruises right now? Do they not have the critical thinking to weigh their mortality compared to their desire for fun? I get that cruises are fun and a good time, not for me personally, but when does fun outweigh your health? Edit, mortality not morality. Why are people still on cruises? Screw the folks who ripped Bernie Sanders over his comments on Cuba, it seems like they're outright better than America in this case. When Cuba is a better humanitarian country than the US, you know the US isn't a leader anymore. Isn't keeping people on cruise ships one of the worst things you can do? Due to the cycled air and close living predicaments, good on Cuba. Thank you Cuba for this gracious humanitarian act. If it's a British cruise ship, why didn't it return to Britain? If they don't let you in for weeks, why not just go back to Britain? I learned something from reading the comments. I didn't expect that. Anyways, it's nice of them to do this but extremely risky. Hopefully, their humanitarian act doesn't go sour. Aw fuck, and they're all going to wind up here in Miami. Hope Halifax, Nova Scotia, refuses cruise ship that are expected to dock at the port on April 11th. Our numbers are low ATM as of today. There's 7 reported cases, mostly Halifax and South Shore Way. I live northeastern almost 2 HRS drive, but viruses have no borders. Good luck and stay safe everyone.